They attempted to disrupt the performance by shouting insults and making loud noises. But instead of faltering, Kofi drew upon the lessons of his stories and stood firm. In the heart of Nyanza, a vibrant village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, life thrived on tradition and community. The village was a patchwork of mud brick homes, bustling markets, and the sounds of drums and laughter. Here, the past and present coexisted harmoniously, with the wisdom of the ancestors guiding the people's daily lives. Among the villagers was Kofi, a 15-year-old boy with a brilliant mind and an imaginative spirit. Kofi lived with his grandmother, Nana Akua, in a modest hut at the edge of the village. His parents had passed away when he was young, leaving Nana Akua to raise him. She was a revered storyteller, known for her captivating tales that conveyed the village's history and moral lessons. Kofi adored his grandmother and aspired to follow in her footsteps, dreaming of one day becoming a great storyteller. The village school was a place of learning and social interaction, where children from all walks of life came together. It was here that Kofi encountered Kwame, Otto, and their group of wealthy friends. These boys, with their fine clothes and haughty attitudes, often belittled those who did not share their privileged background. Kofi, with his worn-out clothes and quiet demeanor, quickly became their favorite target. Part 2. The bullying begins. The bullying started innocuously. Kwame and his friends would snicker and point at Kofi's tattered school uniform. "Look at him," Kwame would say. "Did you inherit those clothes from your ancestors?" The boys laughed, their taunts stinging Kofi's pride. As weeks passed, the teasing escalated. They would push him around, knock his books to the ground, and call him names. Kofi tried to ignore them, focusing on his studies and his stories, but the constant humiliation gnawed at his confidence. One afternoon, during a break, Kofi sat under a baobab tree, scribbling in his notebook. He was working on a new story inspired by one of Nana Akua's tales. Kwame and his friends approached, snatching the notebook from his hands. "What's this?" Kwame sneered. "You think you're a storyteller like your old grandmother?" Before Kofi could react, Kwame tore the notebook in half, scattering the pages in the wind. The boys laughed and walked away, leaving Kofi to gather the torn pieces of his work. That night, he confided in Nana Akua, who listened with a heavy heart. "Kofi, my dear, you have a gift. Do not let their cruelty silence your voice. The stories of our ancestors live within you. Use them to show your strength." She encouraged him. Part 3. Kofi's secret talent. Determined to rise above the bullying, Kofi immersed himself in his stories. He spent hours writing, drawing inspiration from Nana Akua's tales and his own vivid imagination. His stories became his refuge, a place where he could escape the harsh realities of his daily life. One day, as Kofi worked on a story in the school library, Mr. Mensah, the head teacher, noticed him. Intrigued by the boy's concentration, he peered over Kofi's shoulder and was impressed by what he saw. "Kofi, these stories are wonderful. Have you ever thought about sharing them with others?" he asked. Kofi shook his head, too shy to consider such a possibility. Mr. Mensah smiled warmly. "We have the annual village festival coming up. It would be a great opportunity for you to showcase your talent. Let me help you prepare." With Mr. Mensah's encouragement, Kofi agreed to participate in the festival. He continued to work diligently, his stories becoming richer and more detailed. Amma, his best friend, became his biggest supporter, helping him select his best stories and providing moral support. Part 4. Preparing for the festival. As the festival approached, Kofi faced numerous challenges. Self-doubt lingered in his mind, and the bullying did not cease. Kwame and his friends continued to mock him, but Kofi remained focused on his goal. He spent late nights perfecting his stories, channeling his emotions into every word. During this time, Kofi also made new friends who admired his storytelling talent and saw beyond his social status. They offered him encouragement and support, helping him build the confidence he needed to present his work at the festival. Kwame, however, was not pleased with Kofi's growing recognition. He and his friends devised a plan to sabotage Kofi's participation in the festival. They spread rumors and tried to intimidate him, but Kofi refused to back down. He had come too far to let them win. Part 5. The Village Festival. The day of the festival arrived, and the village was filled with excitement. Stalls lined the main square, selling everything from handmade crafts to delicious foods. Drums and traditional music filled the air, creating a festive atmosphere. Kofi felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation as he prepared, Yua smiling encouragingly at him from the front row. Kofi began his performance, his voice trembling slightly at first, but growing stronger with each word. He recounted tales of bravery, wisdom, and the rich history of their ancestors. The villagers were captivated by his storytelling, their attention completely absorbed by the vivid worlds he painted with his words. Midway through his performance, as Kofi was deep into a tale about a clever trickster who outsmarted a greedy king, Kwame and his friends made their move. They attempted to disrupt the performance by shouting insults and making loud noises. But instead of faltering, Kofi drew upon the lessons of his stories and stood firm. King. Kofi improvised, his eyes locking onto Kwame, because he knew that true power comes from within, and that no amount of wealth or title can change the strength of a true heart. The crowd understood the deeper meaning of Kofi's words. There was a murmur of approval and support from the villagers. Kwame, realizing that his plan was backfiring, tried to slink away, but the villagers called him out. Mr. Mensah quickly intervened, ensuring that Kwame and his friends faced the consequences of their actions. Part 6. The Aftermath. In the days following the festival, Kofi was met with widespread admiration and respect. His performance had not only showcased his talent, but also highlighted the resilience and wisdom that came from embracing one's heritage and inner strength. Kofi's newfound recognition opened doors for him. Elders and respected storytellers from neighboring villages invited him to learn from them and share his stories. He was even offered a scholarship to a prestigious school that specialized in the arts and cultural studies. The bullies, on the other hand, faced the consequences of their actions. The village council, led by Mr. Mensah, made it clear that such behavior was unacceptable and took steps to ensure that Kwame and his friends understood the gravity of their actions. They were assigned community service and had to publicly apologize to Kofi. Part 7. Epilogue. A few years later, Kofi had grown into a confident young man. His storytelling had taken him far beyond the borders of Nyanza, yet he always carried the lessons of his grandmother and the wisdom of his ancestors with him. He had become a respected storyteller and an advocate against bullying, using his platform to inspire others and promote kindness and understanding. Kofi often returned to Nyanza to visit his grandmother, who beamed with pride at his achievements. Together, they would sit under the baobab tree where Kofi's journey had truly begun and share stories with the village children passing down the rich cultural heritage to the next generation. Inspireverse Tales concluded Kofi's story with an inspiring message. True strength comes from within, and embracing one's roots can lead to unimaginable heights. Rise above adversity, for you are the hero of your own story.
To watch more, subscribe.